It's 5 p.m. here in Lagos, Nigeria. Time for the world today. I'm Amarachi Ubani. Here's what's coming up. Anticipation grows as millions prepare for total solar eclipse in North America. Egypt says significant progress made in Gaza ceasefire talks between Israel and Hamas. South Korea successfully launches second military spy satellite into orbit. You have your headlines. The World Today starts now. Welcome again. So is it doomsday or not? One of the top questions in the minds of millions of Americans who will be witnessing a total solar eclipse. The heavenly phenomenon will be seen over the Cook Islands in the Pacific Ocean and then move across Mexico and 13 U.S. states before finishing in Newfoundland in Canada. Authorities believe some 32 million U.S. citizens will be able simply to step outside of their front door to watch day turn into night. A solar eclipse happens when the moon crosses paths with the sun, blocking it from view. The phenomenon requires the sun, the moon, and the earth to be in just the right alignment for the moon to cast a shadow on our planet. And this experience has been dubbed the Great American Eclipse Part 2 as a similar event. Well, so many media in the United States are providing live views for people to be able to watch this phenomenon. We won't be seeing it here in Lagos, Nigeria, but astronomers in the US and in Canada have mapped out exactly where the path of totality will be. And as long as you're on that path, you should be able to catch the total solar eclipse. Let's bring in our Washington correspondent, Maria Bird, now, who may or may not witness the total eclipse. Maria, which is it? Will you be able to see the total eclipse in Washington?
Well, I don't think we'll be able to see the total eclipse. I think we'll be able to see part of the eclipse. What we know in Washington is that the path is really going to be more Pennsylvania and New York and Vermont. Those are the areas where we'll be able to see the total eclipse. It'll start just in about another hour from now, the partial eclipse in Dallas, Texas. Then it'll begin to move through the central region of the United States up to the east.
Yeah, sadly, you won't be able to see that, but you can watch on television, I suppose. Talk to us about some of the watch parties, because I know that they're being set up all over the place. Those who are setting up watch parties to watch the astrological wonder.
Yes, there's several watch parties. And even though in Washington we won't be able to see the total eclipse, there's still many watch parties. There's still tons of the eclipse glasses being sold. There'll be people out around 3:20 in the afternoon, Eastern Standard Time, to look up to see part of the eclipse. So no matter where you are in the U.S., I can guarantee people will be out looking for that eclipse at the time it's supposed to reach that region.
And I understand, Maria, that some people are reading several meanings into this phenomenon. For those who like to study astrology, they think it's a sign of the end of the world. Is the government debunking such beliefs or allowing people to run riot with their thoughts?
Well, the government is focusing on the scientific perspective. NASA is obviously leading the way. You see all types of scientists on the news talking about it. So I think that even though there are those conversations, I think the government and the local media are focusing on the scientific aspects of this. And so really trying to push those methods and those conversations forward. But as you said, there's always a small group of individuals that might see otherwise.
Yeah, and I know that, some religious leaders in the United States are also hopping on this trend, talking about how the eclipse reflects the end times. Talk to us about that as well.
Yeah, there are some religious organizations, but I would say that the larger religious organizations in the U.S. are not focusing in on that. They are focusing in, again, on the scientific perspectives of this. I think that you're seeing a much smaller community than what many might see. Obviously, we know that through social media and through other forms, even though it's a small community, it still becomes a much larger story.
So has Eclipse been seen anywhere else in the U.S.? I know you said in the afternoon. A lot of people will be able to see it. But have there been areas that have already begun to witness this solar eclipse?
It's heading up from Mexico area. It'll be around 1:30 Eastern time, 12:30 Central time, when Dallas, Texas will get a partial view, and then it'll keep growing from there. And so it'll be up until around 4 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern Standard Time. So within the hour, we'll begin to start hearing people saying they've seen a partial eclipse. You'll start to begin to see people outside with their glasses on. People even traveling to, whether this was one of the most heavily traveled weekend due to the solar eclipse, as people are trying to get to the path. And unfortunately, the path is a little bit smaller than once predicted. And so it might only be even a smaller area than once was expected to be able to see the total eclipse. Because there won't be another total eclipse, according to what the scientists are saying, until 2044.
Wow, that's a long way away. So speaking of travel, Maria, how will this impact on air travel and navigation?
Well, this should probably not have much of an impact on air travel. There's been no signs that they are going to be grounding planes during these eclipse periods. So it seems that there will be no interruption, and those individuals will be traveling by plane.
This wonder can easily be enjoyed by those who can see, those with sight. What about those who are visually impaired? How will they be able to enjoy this once in a lifetime wonder?
You're exactly correct, and that's where there have been several measures to try to find ways for the sound perspective, using other forms of the five senses to be able to communicate what's actually happening. There are those who have partial visual impairment, potentially could see glimpses of it through certain technology that have been put in place to address that. But you are correct. For those that are officially 100% visually impaired, it will be the other forms of the senses to be able to try to bring that reality to them as well.
Well, Maria, I guess we'll have to live vicariously through you. Hopefully, if you do get any signs that, the eclipse has started, just let us know. We'll do our best to monitor from here as much as we can. Thanks again.
We'll be sure to do that. Thank you.
We're used to hearing about North Korea in the news. This time, its neighbor, the South, has successfully launched a second military spy satellite into orbit. A launch comes days after North Korea reiterated its intention to launch multiple reconnaissance satellites this year. According to South Korea's National Ministry of Defense, the satellite entered orbit after its launch on a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket from the John F. Kennedy Space Center in Florida, the United States. Seoul's military said in a statement its independent intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance capabilities have been further strengthened by the successful launch, adding it will proceed with future satellite launches without a hitch. South Korea, which plans to launch a total of 5 military spy satellites by the year 2025, is in a race with North Korea to expand its surveillance capabilities amid rising tension on the Korean peninsula. Pyongyang launched its first spy satellite in the Malingyong-1 in November last year in its third attempt, while South Korea put its satellite into orbit the following month. North Korea has said its satellite had transmitted imagery of key sites in the U.S., including the White House and the Pentagon, but has not released any of the photos. More than 90 people have died after a ferry sank off the north coast of Mozambique. Officials in Nampula province say 5 people had been rescued of the around 130 believed to have been on the boat. The Secretary of State, Jaime Neto, says the passengers were fleeing a cholera outbreak and many children were among the dead, adding that the boat was overcrowded and unsuited to carry passengers, so it ended up sinking. The boat was apparently traveling from Lunga to Mozambique Island off the coast of Nampula. It is a Muslim-majority area, and some of those who died have already been buried in line with Islamic rites. Several homes, vehicles, and bridges have been destroyed after heavy storms wreaked havoc in Cape Town, South Africa this weekend. The incident has forced authorities to ordered the closure of schools in many parts of the province to protect teachers and students. Roads have also been closed to avoid accidents. Authorities have asked residents to stay off them and avoid unnecessary travel. Our correspondent in South Africa, Innocent Samosa, spoke with my colleague Layo Olarinde about the latest developments.
Well, a very good evening to you, colleague, and our viewers around the world. Indeed, challenging weather patterns in South Africa. In fact, the Western Cape Premier, Alan Winde, is advising visitors in some parts of the province, particularly in the Cape Winelands area, to remain in their accommodation. We're told that these districts are some of the worst affected by the storm conditions since Sunday. The Premier has also called on the public to avoid bridges, crossings, and low-lying areas that can be flooded. But this is not only happening in the Western Cape, colleague, but we're seeing incidents in KwaZulu-Natal province. In fact, the KwaZulu-Natal Department of Transport is calling on motorists to be extra vigilant following a serious incident or accident that involving two trucks which forced the complete closure of the N3 in Van Riens Pass. The road is still closed as I speak, as I'm talking to you, and traffic is being diverted to other alternative routes such as the N11 linking KwaZulu-Natal and Mpumalanga. Also, we're told the R74 linking KwaZulu-Natal and the Free State. But also, we're being told by the emergency services that the recovery team is currently on the scene, and they say they're working so hard to try to remove the two trucks and open the road for traffic. But also, the traffic officials, the police are also on the scene. Also, we're told that one person sustained serious injuries and is being taken to the nearest hospital.
Staying on the continent, President Paul Kagame of Rwanda is warning African leaders to avoid tribal politics. Stating this during a media briefing in Kigali, the Rwandan capital, earlier today, he says he's observed that tribal politics is dominant in the region and should be avoided in the interest of stability.
Relating to what situation you have in our region, and what we had in Rwanda ourselves back in the years, which we have overcome and continue to make sure that we keep moving forward, is politics that seeks to divide the people either of a country or a region. In fact, based on ethnic or religious or other reasons, you cannot govern effectively and stably. You can't have stability when you divide people, when you discriminate people, because we have a lot of it in the region, especially in the recent days, as we have seen. So I was not only explaining that so that people may give it consideration to avoid very huge and costly problems that are born out of it.
Thank you, sir. And on Sunday, there was a solemn ceremony in Kigali marking 30 years since the Rwandan genocide. President Kagame blamed the international community for failing the country at the time of the genocide. The 100-day massacre claimed the lives of over 1 million people, largely Tutsis and moderate Hutus. Here's a report from the commemoration. As with all of the ceremonies preceding this one, the 30th anniversary of the genocide in Rwanda was solemn yet profound. As President Paul Kagame reflected on the event that changed the country's political and cultural course from 1994. Commemorated at the Kigali Genocide Memorial, the event was witnessed by other African leaders such as President Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa and President of the African Development Bank, Akiwumi Adesina, and a host of others. More than 250,000 victims of the genocide have been buried at the Kigali Memorial, even though more than 800,000 people, largely Tutsis, but also a moderate number of Hutus, were slaughtered in the 100 days that the genocide lasted.
This flame symbolizes not only our past, but the hope for tomorrow. It will keep burning for the next 100 days.
His Excellency President Paul Kagame.
In his address to the world, President Paul Kagame said Africa needed to learn lessons from the genocide, just like Rwanda has. But he blamed the international community for failing Rwanda in its time of need.
The remnants of those forces are still in eastern Congo today, where they enjoy state support in full view of the United Nations peacekeepers, their objectives have not changed. And the only reason this group today known as FDLR has not been disbanded is because their continued existence serves some unspoken interest.
He also said Rwanda was completely humbled by the magnitude of its loss and that lessons learned are engraved in blood.
The more Rwanda takes full responsibility for its own safety and dignity, the more intensely the established truth about the genocide is questioned and revised.
French President Emmanuel Macron had sent a recorded video message earlier on Sunday, acknowledging that his country and its allies could have stopped the genocide, but lacked the will to do so. Welcome back to the world. Today we have some really interesting stories for you. One of them being the Nigerian lady, 28-year-old Pelumi Nubi, known as the Globetrotter, arriving in the country on Sunday. Earlier today, she was received by the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, as the State Tourism Ambassador. She embarked on her solo trip from London to Lagos in a car on January 30, 2024. Completed her journey on Sunday and was led to Lagos House Marina by the chairman of Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabiri Erewa. The governor rewarded her with a brand new car and a home in Lagos.
A lot of people will have sort of like give up, the host and just give it all up. You ensure that, your vision and the mission was well accomplished. And thanks very much, for putting Lagos on that world map again, for putting our country, in a place where it should be. And so on behalf of everyone, I want to thank you again. I want to congratulate you again. I want to officially, label you our tourism ambassador. It comes with a lot of responsibility, but it comes with a lot of support. The state government, if you don't mind, you don't know what your intentions are, we want to be able to, write off your entire bill for this trip, whatever it is, whatever the numbers are. We want you to take time to actually check the sound and sight of Lagos. We want you to go on our train rides. We want you to go on our boat ride. We want you to really, truly, really discover your home, right? And be able to tell the world the Lagos story as your home. We want to give you a car that will be a personalized Pelumi vehicle. And above all, we want you to have a home in Lagos. We will also give you one, right?
Overwhelmed. Pelumi Nubi appreciated the state and federal government for recognizing her hard work and encouraged other youths to take the bold step and achieve their dreams.
I'm so grateful. Honestly, I feel so blessed. I feel so blessed to be a Lagosian. I feel so blessed to have done this London to Lagos road trip. And honestly, my sincere thanks to the governor, to the president, and to everyone that's made this happen. Thank you so much. When I started this, I was just doing my own thing. I was just traveling, and it got worldwide recognition. And it always just shows that you just have to step out of your comfort zone. You really just have to do the things that you're scared of. So don't listen to what anyone says. Don't listen to the naysayers. Trust your instinct, trust your guts, and go for it.
Well, I guess Pelumi gets a new Lumi. Well, Lumi 2, I would name her. Pelumi arrived on Sunday. There she is, arriving into Nigeria. She had a hero's welcome. She was at the Nigeria-Benin Republic border by Lagos State government officials who were there to welcome her. The crowd was massive. The excitement was in the air. Her second stop was at Badagry, from which she headed to Unilag for her homecoming celebration. Just a reminder here, she started her journey in January this year. She drove through 11 countries, spanning 68 days, and she was updating on her travels on her social media accounts. We love to see these stories. Finally, on the program, it may be small, but it's definitely going to be mighty, at least when it gets its teeth sunk into you, and ready to take on the bad guys after its crime-fighting training. I'm talking about China's first police dog named Fu Zhai. The corgi captivated the online world with his charm and dedication and stole the local community's hearts in the Chinese city of Weifang. He began training only at the age of 6 months. Officials say they're impressed at the corgi's performance, as they are often used relatively larger German Shepherd dogs. A corgi is presently in training at the Changle County Police Station, police dog base, in Weifang, preparing to serve as a reserve police dog. Fu Zhai has reportedly dedicated 4 months to rigorous training, leveraging his unique short legs to excel in obedience, explosive detection, and scent tracking. Over the next few months, the corgi will undergo official evaluation assessments. If successful, he'll be promoted from a trainee to a full accredited police dog. No disadvantages here. Thanks for watching The World Today. I'm Amarachi Ubani.